This video is about a very important subject, which is clearing the 50-foot obstacle. Here we are en route, flying to the northern tip of Lake Chelan in Washington. We are going to fly to Stehekin airstrip. First we overfly the strip, look for the conditions and the obstacles. After checking the obstacles, we proceed to our landing, and I look for a gap in the trees so I don't have to go straight over the big trees. Even I'm doing a dogleg approach, I think it's easier than coming over the biggest trees. Winds are calm. We decided to land 3-1. Here is the same landing from a different angle. From this angle it is easier to see the gap between the trees where I'm approaching through the lower obstacles. Now we are doing the takeoff. The Sportsman stall kit allows me to take off with 30 degrees of flaps and it will be in the air at very slow speed. What I do is stay in ground effect to gain more speed and authority, and then I start my climb. From this angle you can see the work with the flaps. I start with 30 degrees of flaps, and then I starting to reduce to 20 and then to 10. The more speed I get on ground effect, the harder I need to push on the yoke down to keep the plane on ground effect. This is why when I reduce the flaps, the airplane does not sink while I'm in ground effect. If the obstacle is really tall and it's close to the edge of the landing strip, what I try to do is slip so I can land closer to the edge of the strip, so make a shorter landing. Every airplane should have in the POH a takeoff distance chart. This is key to know the performance of your airplane to clear the 50-foot obstacle. This is the same takeoff, looking from the cockpit. Again, what I try to do is stay in ground effect and gain more than VX. And the reason I want more is I want to go fast enough that I have lots of authority when I cross over those trees, because I don't know if there will be a downdraft or turbulence when I'm crossing the trees, and having more speed and more authority is more helpful to fight against any surprises. Here is another landing, looking for a gap in the trees. I'm coming really slow and the airplane starts to sink. You continue that way until at the end you just give a little bit of power, so it helps rounding out the landing. This strip is in Costa Rica and it is hot and humid, so the performance is not great. So what I do, I just take off and get to VX and do the the trees are kind of tall, so no time to ground effect here. Here is another landing where I added power just before touching down. Even my airplane with lots of modifications, I always check the POH and landing distances just to have an idea. So this is an important subject, clearing the 50-foot obstacle, and it's very important for the landing and also for the takeoff. For the landings, what I do is I come slow, look for a gap, like in this landing there's a gap, and also do a dogleg, so it's the lower trees or lower obstacle, and then I can try to come slow so I don't point the nose down and gain lots of speed and then I cannot stop and float all over the strip. Same landing with a different view. Your airplane's POH should have the numbers for 50-foot obstacles, and it's very important to read those and check the temperature, the weight of your airplane. That's very important. The temperature and winds can change after you land, so you always have to be aware of that. The calculated distance in the POH is only to clear the 50-foot obstacles, so be aware of rising terrain as well. This airstrip is in Idaho. It's one of the few ones that has obstacles on both ends, and it's a challenge because of the high density altitude. So in this case I make sure the airplane was lightweight, not much wind. Even we tried to come early, the temperature was already hot, so the performance was not great. This strip is Chiroles in Costa Rica. It has tall trees, but as you can see there is a live object obstacle and I have to go over that one as well. I decided to continue the landing because there was still plenty of distance left for the landing. in doubt, don't take off. It's better to take the load out of the airplane and make one takeoff practice. But if you're not sure, it's better not to do it. Check your POH, and if the numbers don't play well, make the adjustments you need to lower the weight, or wait until it's cooler or less wind. This is the CJ6 military trainer. What I try to do is, as soon as I'm in the air, I retract the gear and stay in ground effect to gain more speed, and then climb out. Always it's good to consult the POH and take the conservative approach. Remember, those numbers were made in a new airplane and with a test pilot. Performance charts allow a pilot to predict the takeoff, climb, cruise, and landing performance of an aircraft. These charts provided by the manufacturer are included in the POH. Information the manufacturer provides on these charts has been gathered from test flights conducted in a new aircraft under normal operating conditions while using average piloting skills. All these landings I'm coming with 40 degrees of flaps and coming slow. From this angle you can see I try to not lower the nose. I am also controlling the speed with the yoke, with pitch, and the altitude with throttle. Now for the takeoff, 30 degrees of flaps. This is high elevation, high density, altitude, and big trees, large obstacles, so no time for ground effect, and as soon as I have the speed, I just climb out. The angle of attack indicator, it is of great help in these conditions and this kind of takeoffs, because it will tell me exactly when is the moment to lift and start climbing. For backcountry trips with big obstacles, the reasons to come slow are rough strips, short strips, and if you want to go around, you have more time to go around. So even with 50 feet obstacles, what I do is I try to come low over the obstacle and slow. Now if the conditions were windy, I will not come this slow, and if the strip is too short and I see the conditions too challenging and dangerous, I just will abort the landing and go somewhere else. So read your charts, your POH, and practice those 50 feet obstacles, landing and takeoff.